Hey y'all! Hello Instagram, hello Facebook. And on Facebook, I have lots of pizza flying in my mouth. We're talking about food tonight, and we're going to be talking about how to read a nutrition label. So put the pizza down. And I'm going to give y'all some tips for weight loss because that's what I specialize in. And I'm Alli Kerr, women's fitness and fat loss expert and owner of the Pink Physique. And so what we're going to be really focusing on with these food labels is the weight loss part of it. And what I look for if I am trying to myself maintain my weight or lose weight, or if I'm working with a client, the things that I teach them that they should be looking for. I want y'all to look at these food labels with me of the things that you have so that you can really understand what we're going to be looking at. Because there's three things, just three, that I want you to be looking at when you're looking at a food label if your goal is weight loss in particular, weight loss or fat loss. I want you just to look at three things on your food label because there's a lot of stuff on this food label. So if we could just narrow it down to three things, won't that be pretty awesome? All right. I'm going to talk to you about how we pick the right foods because we want to pick the right things, and if we're confused or sometimes we think we're doing the right things, we're actually sabotaging our results because we're looking at the wrong things on our foods. So I want to help you to get it right. So if you want to get it tight, you can get it tight because you're now eating the right things. Now I have a saying about exercise, if you want to get it tight, you've got to do it right. But it also is true for fat loss. If you want to get it tight, you've got to eat right with your food. And if you, those of you that are just joining in, if you have some boxed food in your pantry or fridge, anything with a nutrition label, grab it. So this will help you as we go through this, how to read a food label tonight. And if you actually incorporate balanced eating and following these steps, just three things that I'm going to tell you to be looking for. If you follow this, it's going to quadruple your results when it comes to fitness and fat loss. If you're wanting to lose weight, trim down, lose body fat, following these three things that I'm going to have you looking at on your food loss is going to help you to quadruple your results. So thumbs up for that. Who doesn't want to really be able to kick things into high gear and see more results faster and easier because you understand now what you're looking for? So I'm going to give you just some basic food label stuff, just kind of what they are and why they exist. So we actually, the food companies are required to put these labels on the side. I don't know if y'all can see that on Instagram. It says nutrition facts, and they are required to put these on the side. And if it's a box, it's usually going to be on the side. So let's just talk about, we're just going to go through this box. This is just a box of oatmeal, and we're going to talk about what all is here. So the front of the box, this is this falls into one of my common misconceptions. My number one common misconception when it comes to food and food labels is that the front of the packaging gives you useful information. Unfortunately, that is a misconception. Honestly, the front of the package is a billboard. This is where they can really market to you, and it's a sales page. They're actually trying to sell you the product. They're not giving you nutritional information on the front of the packaging, and usually not even on the back of the packaging. This is like their billboard, and this is where they go a little bit more into details of a sales page and marketing this product to you. So some of these products, I'm just going to read some of the things. I've got several things here. You can look at some of the things you have at home. So this one tells you that, it's got heart to heart on the front, supports healthy cholesterol, promotes healthy blood pressure. It's golden maple, naturally flavored. So it all just sounds really good. So this is all just designed to really get you excited about purchasing this food. And on this one, it says, helps you stay on track. Who doesn't want to stay on track? And it talks about how it's got fruit in it. Pretty sure it's not really fruit, but it mentions fruit on here. It's yogurt and fruit in this bar. And then it tells you some things about like how much protein and fiber and calories are on the front. And so there's lots of things though that they don't tell you on the front. But again, this is their billboard. This is just to let us know, hey, buy me, buy me, buy me. And then on the back, they go more into that. This one talks about how it's beautifully blended, and they have pretty pictures on here. This one has nutritious, sustained energy. That's the little tagline that they, it's called a tagline that they have in sales copy that is, again, trying to draw you in. It says it's got 20 grams of whole grain, which excites a lot of people. Unfortunately, we can talk more about that, but that's not always as good as it sounds. It tells you it's got apple cinnamon. This one I like how they do this. They put a picture of an apple, and it's like a cookie, but it has the design of wheat on the cookie to make it look like really healthy. And then when you flip it over, the billboard continues, the sales copy, nutritious sustained energy for the whole morning. 20 grams of delicious whole grains, contains no high fructose corn syrup. And they go on and on and on. Well, if you're reading the front, so one of the common misconceptions, number one, is that the front and back of the packaging gives useful information. That's really a misconception. So what I would encourage you to do is ignore. If you really want to know what's in your food and you really want to reach your goals, ignore all that. And even this other side kind of is more of the sales. So they use 3 sides of this box, really 4, to market to you, and only one side has the actual, so I call all this the faux, the false, and I call this the facts. Only one side has the nutrition facts. Nutrition facts right here on the side of the label. It's in the fine print. This is what they put in the fine print. The facts. And we want the facts. So another common misconception is that calories is the most important thing to look at. Whether you're looking on your phone, at an app on your phone, or you're looking at a food label, a lot of times the first thing that we go for is just to look at how many calories it has. And that is a common misconception as far as the importance of that. We put more importance on that than I personally, when I look at food labels, honestly, I rarely look at the calories. And that may be surprising, but I'm going to tell you what I do look at, so don't worry. But calories is not what I'm looking at. And if it is, it may be like the last thing I glance at, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. But that's not what I'm going for. But that's what most of us are looking at, just because we're not really sure what to look at. And we hear all about calories, calories, calories. So that's one of the things we look at. And that is on the nutrition facts label. It's at the very top of the label, and it's in bold. So it does tell us the calories. And that is something you can certainly look at. I just want to give y'all some help on some things that will help you even more if you're wanting to trim down and lose body fat and get leaner. All right. The third misconception about foods that I find people have is they often feel like or think, when I'm working with clients and for the first time and I'm going through foods with them and we're looking at different foods and I'm talking to them about what's in it, I often find that clients think that there's more protein in a lot of foods than there actually is. So that's another common misconception, is that common foods that we eat have a lot more protein than they actually do. So we'll kind of delve into that too, because that's important to know about that. All right, so that's the 3 common misconceptions: that the food front packaging gives you useful information, that the calories is the most important, and that a lot of the common foods we eat have more protein in them that we think they have more than they do. So they actually don't have as much as we think they do. So these food labels are required, and they're all set up the exact same. So that's the good news. Once you learn how to read these, you will know forever, because they all have the same exact information from label to label to label. Every food label, nutrition facts, it does have calories, and then it breaks down and it tells you it's got percent daily values. If y'all got your food at home, grab anything that has a food label so you can look at this with me so you'll really understand. Now that you have your food label, hopefully, and I've got all mine, let's look at this thing, breaking it down. So we know that there's calories on here. If you notice, there are 3 things in bold, and these are the 3 things that I want y'all to look at. The first one is the total fat. The second one I want you to look at is total carbohydrates. So that's the second one. And out to the side, again, it tells you how many grams. That's important. So I want you to look at the total fat grams and the total carbohydrate grams, and then the third thing I want you to look at is the protein, and then the grams outside the protein. And if y'all have some food at home, tell me what it is in the comments so we can talk about what the grams of fat, carbs, and protein are in your foods. And I'm gonna go through some of them. Let's look at some yogurt, because yogurt is a common one, and I've got 3 different yogurts. I've got just some Yoplait original that is blueberry, and I've got a Greek yogurt that is blueberry. It's got the little added jelly, jello, whatever on the side where you can mix it in. And then I've got a plain Greek yogurt here. And so we're going to look at all 3 of these in the labels. All right, so let's check it out. And the first part of the label I want to look at is the protein and the carbs. protein and carbs have the same calories per gram. So if it says that there are 6 grams of protein, protein has 4 calories per gram, and carbohydrates have 4 calories per gram. So they have the same. So if it has 6 grams of protein, I would multiply 6 by 4, and that means 24 calories from this yogurt come from protein. And this is the Yoplait one, the blueberry. It has 25 carbohydrates. So this will be a good example of a lot of times we think something has more protein than it actually does. This has 6 grams of protein and 25 grams of carbohydrates. So the total fat is 2 grams. And I have my clients just look at the 3 grams, the fat grams, and I don't have them look at the saturated, not just total grams of fat, total grams of carbs. I don't have them looking at the sugars and all that. Just total grams of protein, total grams of carbs, and total grams of fat. And then I have them look at which one is the highest or how close are the protein and carbs. So would this be a protein, a carb, or a fat, this Yoplait yogurt? I'm going to read the grams to y'all again. 2 grams of fat, 25 grams of carbs, and 6 grams of protein. So would this be a protein, a carb, or fat? It is a carb because it has more than twice as many, 4 times as many carbs as it does protein. All right, now we're going to look at this one. This is a Greek yogurt blueberry. Let's check it out. Dun, 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 dun. We're going to the nutrition facts, not this. Let me tell you what the front says. The front of it tells you that it's got live and active cultures. It's low-fat yogurt, it's strained Greek yogurt, and it's free from 101 artificial preservatives and ingredients. That's what the front of the label tells you. All right, let's see what the facts say. So the facts say that our total fat is 2.5 grams, our total carbs is 25 grams, and total protein is 11 grams. So, dun, 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 yes, you are correct. This is also a carb. Now, it has a little bit less carbs than it has the same amount of carbs as the Yoplait, but this one has more protein. It has about almost twice as much protein as the Yoplait. So the Greek yogurt does have more protein. However, the carbs are still over twice as much as the protein. So again, one of those misconceptions, we think that things have more protein than they do. Dun, 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 dun. All right, let's go to the hardcore plain Jane Greek yogurt. Let's look at the label. All right, so the fat is 0. The carbs, total carbs, 6 grams. And protein is 15 grams. So, yay, ding, 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 we have a protein here. So this is the only one of those 3 yogurts that would actually be considered a protein. If you notice, this one's a Greek yogurt and this one's a Greek yogurt. But this one has 11 grams and this one has 15 grams. Now, calorie-wise, if you're interested, this one also has 170 and this one only has 80, the plain Greek yogurt. But I don't need to know that because if once I looked at the protein, the carbs, and the fat, I know all I need to know that this is a protein. So the calorie thing just kind of works itself out with me not even having to look at that. All right, so this is a protein now. And what I recommend is that we put a carb with this. I like to have my proteins and carbs about equal. Yes, plain Greek yogurt is not sweet because it doesn't have all that sugar added. It's actually sour. It actually tastes just like sour cream. So the good news is you can use it in place of sour cream. So this would be a great thing to add to if you like Mexican food or you like something that's sour on potato, sour cream, use Greek yogurt. You won't know the difference. It tastes the same, but instead of adding a fat in sour cream, you're adding a protein with Greek yogurt. But you can also add real fruit to this. Now, they added their own fruit here, but it meant that they lowered the protein to do it, and of course, kicked the sugar way up with this artificial. I mean, I don't think that this grew in the garden. This little thing of blueberry, looks like blueberry jam or something that they're sticking in here. So you mix that in. But you can put fresh blueberries in with your plain Greek yogurt if you want to pick the best. Now that's going to be, as far as quality of food, that would be the best option to get the blueberry flavor. And now you're not decreasing your protein. You get to keep all 15 grams of protein and you're just adding a few carbs to balance that out with some fresh blueberries or whatever kind of fruit you like. So that's a little trick there with your yogurts to know what is what. So reading the labels on yogurt is a biggie because there's a lot of flavored yogurts out there now because like Dudley said, this isn't the good stuff. So they've made it taste good, and when they do that, they didn't do that without adding all kinds of sugar and things, and even taking away some of that good protein that we so need in our diets. Peanut butter. Good old peanut butter. All right, so the front of the label says it's creamy and it's yummy and it's got 7 grams of protein. Well, doggone it, that must be good, right? Let's see what it's actually made of. All right, so protein, 7 grams per serving, which is, and it does tell you the serving size at the top of your nutrition label. It'll say serving size for this one is 2 tablespoons. All right, so for those 2 tablespoons, that has 7 grams of protein, 8 grams of carbs, and 16 grams of fat. So peanut butter, almonds, peanuts, any kind of nuts, they are fats. They do have a little bit of protein, but they have way more fat than they do protein. And here's a little trick that I do, and I don't want to confuse y'all, but I'm going to tell you what I share with my clients and what I have them do. When it comes to the label and we're looking at the grams of fat, carbs, and protein, I actually have my clients always double the number on the fat. If you remember earlier, I said proteins and carbs both have 4 calories for every gram. Fats have 9. So they have over twice as many calories for every gram. So like on this peanut butter, it'll tell you that if you want to look at calories, you would multiply 16 times 9 to get the total calories, which means there's over around 130 of the 190 calories are all fat. So very much a fat. So I actually have my clients double the grams. So instead of 16 grams, they would say that this has 32. They would put 32 so they know which category it falls into. So 32 fat, 8 carbs, and 7 grams of protein. So definitely a fat today, tomorrow, and all next week. It's still going to be a fat. This one is a Protein Plus bar. So it tells you it's got 20 grams of protein, and it's gluten-free, no artificial colors and flavors, and it's vanilla with other natural flavors. So that's the kind of stuff it tells you on the front. All right, we look at the facts. It has 20 grams of protein, as it says on the front. Oddly enough, though, they didn't tell you how many carbs were on the front, because we all think that carbs are the devil. So marketers have figured out that putting carbs on the front of the packaging is a bad idea. So they don't put that on there. They just put protein. Even like with this one, when the protein's only 4 grams, they announce it like it's a big deal on the box. And it works. By golly, it works. All right, so this has 20 grams of protein, 27 grams of carbs, and then 5 grams of fat. So carbs and fat are pretty close, but it actually does have a little bit more carbs. It's not called a Carb Plus bar, though. It's called a Protein Plus bar. Go figure. All right. And then I've got all kinds of other bars. But let me give you a protein. So here's some tuna. We're going to look at the label of some tuna and look at the, let me flip it over. I got it upside down. And this one has 14 grams of protein, 0 carbs, and 0.5 grams of fat. Now, one tricky thing about these cans of tuna is this is 2.5 servings for this one can. So you have to multiply all that times 2.5 if you're going to eat the whole can. So that's a little tricky. That's one thing I kind of feel like is tricky about the tuna is the serving size. So that is important to look at it. You know, look at your protein, carbs, and fats, the big 3. But also just double check that serving size so you'll know what you're dealing with and how much if you're going to eat this whole thing. But if you eat, it's considered 2.5 servings. So if you just eat that portion of it, one serving of 2.5, then how you're even going to measure that out? Just look at your can and divide it by, I don't know, 2.5. Good luck with that. But this one has 14 grams of protein and 0 carbs and 0.5 grams of fat. So this is definitely a protein. So what I would do to balance it out, to make it a balanced meal, if you're wanting to lose weight, you want to get tight, and you don't want to be starving and not being able to think clearly because you cut your carbs too low, is I would put a carb with this. I would put some chopped up fruits, some chopped up apples is great with tuna, and a little balsamic vinegar, and now you've got a carb and a protein. And we need a little fat in our diet. Carbs are not the devil, protein is certainly not the devil, and fat is not the devil. None of those are the devil, and we need all 3. Fat we want to get a little lower because remember it has twice as many calories per gram, so over twice as many. So a little bit of fat though would give you a little bit of fat to go with that protein, and then put some fruit with it, and now you have a balanced, healthy meal that's going to fill you up, make you feel good, give you energy, and help you get toned and tight and looking right. All right, I've got tons more of these I could go on all night. This bread's another one that is confusing. The bread aisle, most of the bread in the bread aisle is processed. People ask me, well, should I get the wheat or the white? I'm like, there's not much difference. This looks like it's, they make this look pretty healthy. It's got brown, the bread's brown. It's got orange and brown on the cover. It's got like pictures of wheat. It's called, I don't mean to call out the brand, but it says something about kind of relating to it being natural or from nature. And it tells you the total calories, 0 saturated fat, 125 milligrams of sodium, and only 2 grams of sugar. So it tells you all that. And it says wheat, that this is a honey wheat bread. Doesn't have never any artificial preservatives, colors, or flavors, and no high fructose corn syrup. So that's what they put on the billboard. Now when we look at, this is one I think people would think, oh, that must be loaded with fiber because that's some wheat bread. First of all, we'll look at the big three. Protein, 3 grams. Carbs, 13 grams. Fat, 1 gram. And that is for 1 slice. So if you're eating 2 slices, you're going to double that. Fiber, less than 1 gram. And this beautiful wheat, natural bread, there's less than 1 gram of fiber. So tricky. Make sure you learn to read the facts. The best bread is actually usually in the frozen section. It's the sprouted bread. That's going to have more sprouts, grains in it than any of the breads on the bread aisle, whether it's white or wheat. It's pretty much all processed and doesn't have much more than sugar, carbs, and that's pretty much what it's made out of. A trick that I do, and I've had clients that do this, and this is going to sound really icky, but it has worked for lots of ladies, and they have used it with their children, and their children don't even notice. But they'll mix a little bit of skim milk with liquid egg whites and pour it on the cereal to bump up the protein to help balance out all the carbs. Because liquid egg whites, they're pasteurized, they're safe, they're tasteless, so they taste just like what you mix them with. They taste actually like milk, so you can mix them with a little bit of milk, and that'll bump up the protein and help balance out your cereal. Protein powder, mostly protein usually, but you have to check the label because some of them are considered meal replacements and some of them are considered more of a protein. This particular one is protein. It has 24 grams of protein and only 2 grams of carbs. So check your labels on your protein to make sure, what is your goal? Are you eating this as a meal or not? If you're just eating one that's got more protein in it, if you're doing it like before workout or after workout, I would recommend you need to put some fruit with it so you'll have some carbs. Fruit is a carb, so mixed with all this protein, that'll help balance it out and give you a protein carb balanced shake. And it's yummy when you add some fruit and a little bit of ice and a little handful of spinach because veggies are free. You'll have a yummy pre-workout or post-workout meal, good early in the day meal. And women especially, we have trouble getting our protein in, so that is a great thing for us to add. All right, so that was a lot of information about food labels. I hope you learned something though. Look at the facts, look at the big three, protein, carbs, and fats. Figure out which one it is so you can start balancing your food out more so your proteins and carbs are more balanced. You may need to put something with that food to help balance it out. You'll feel better, your body will start looking better, get more toned and tight, and your body, your brain will be functioning better because you won't be cutting out food groups, so that's a good thing. Also, if you need some help, guys or gals, just getting started with food and all this stuff just is so confusing, then go up above to the link to allikerr.com and head over there and grab my 5-day Kickstart Guide. That will be helpful to you. It'll give you everything you need to do for the first week, that 5-day Kickstart Guide. And I hope that is helpful to y'all. My goal is to help you get healthier and happier, take my October challenge. And thank y'all so much. I saw a few of y'all sharing this. I want to say thank you so much for sharing this video. I want to help you and also want to help your friends. And y'all have friends that maybe aren't friends of mine. So thank you so much for the likes and the loves and the shares. And I'll see y'all next Sunday at 8 o'clock. Or if you join the Pink Physiques new group on Facebook, the private group, then it's called Pink Physiques Women's Health and Fitness. I think there's more than one, so make sure you get the right one. Pink Physiques Women's Health and Fitness, and it's for Middle Georgia ladies. Go and join that group, and I'll be seeing y'all before next Sunday because I'll be posting in that group before then. Love, love, love. Thanks again for the shares. I so appreciate it. I'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.